I don't, and I went by today. I did a show, and the driver, who was very nice, the spotlight is closed. Yeah, that's sad. You know, I did a New York Times interview with Johnny Knoxville there. You know, those kind of clubs, and I don't know. I don't have one. No. Yeah. Which one? The Fault Line. Where's that? All right. All right.
All the way in the back.
What is that?
Oh, did I ask you? Oh, I did. Uh-huh. Well, yeah, that one's paid off. That one, you would have gotten your money back. I still know the people that did invest in it, and they still get checks twice a year from it. Yes.
Right there.
I'm going to Baltimore in 2 weeks, and I've been there a really long time. Is there any place that you suggest I go that, you know, that helps me?
Yeah, in Baltimore, the Club Charles is good. The Otter Bar is good. Where else? There's a place called the Bloody Bucket that I like. Holiday House is a biker bar. There's a lot of good places. Rocket to Venus. Yeah, there's good places.
No, you're going to ask right there.
You already did Monty? All right. All right, let's keep going. We'll come back to you.
Over there.
It seems like you were blessed by knowing a lot of people that were willing to do a lot of things, and you're
Blessed? Yeah.
All these people were willing to do such outlandish things, but was there ever anything that you asked people to do and
Yeah.
that they wouldn't?
I said that last night when we showed Pink Flamingos. Yes, Ming Stoll asked her to set her hair on fire because it was so red, and she said, well, how are we going to shoot that? And I said, well, we'll light it on fire, and then someone will be standing right off camera, and I say, cut, we'll throw a bucket of water at you. And she said, no. And she was right, and I don't know what I was thinking. Didn't want her to be injured in any way. I was just thinking of the shock. And the same, when we in Pink Flamingos, we burned down that trailer, I had my poor brother there with one tiny fire extinguisher. It was in the middle of the woods, like in the middle of winter. The entire neighborhood could have burned down. And where that house is in Pink Flamingos, is that now, it was for years I would always go back and look, and the wreckage of that trailer stayed there for 25 years or so. But now it's a suburban housing development, and there's a house built right there. And I hope that some kid lives in the house in his bedroom and feels the vibes from underneath that trailer and thinks, what is this? What's going on here? And the people have no idea that they live right over where the trailer was in Pink Flamingos. And I met the woman that lived in the house where we shot Pink Flamingos, and she had never seen it. And I said, well, you should watch it. She went, oh my God, the vine was licking the banister that I go down every day. And they moved.
Right over there in the corner.
It seems like music plays a big role in your film.
Yeah.
What do you feel about the state of modern music and the way things are going back?
Well, I love Justin Bieber. I do. I love when he stuck his head in the audience in 3D, and I screamed. I like modern music, yeah.
Right there.
Yeah. It was Sue Lowe's baby. His name is Ramsey McLean. He's in his 40s. He's doing fine in Baltimore. And I always thank Ramsey for helping us so early in his career.
Right there.
Tell us a secret.
No.
Right over there.
Because then it wouldn't be a secret anymore.
We're back.
Do you think it's common for an artist to feel their most recent work is their best work? And what would you consider your best work?
I don't, they're all like, they're all cliche. All directors say, well, they're all like my children, I can't pick. And it's, for me, they have learning disabilities too. So, to me, sometimes you stick up for ones that maybe they didn't make as much money as the other ones, but they're all kind of the same to me. They're a different period of my life. I think you could pick any one of my movies and it's still a John Waters movie, no matter if it was the most commercial one, which I guess was Hairspray, or the least commercial, which is, I don't know which one you'd pick for that. But to me, they're kind of the same. So I look back on them all fondly. I don't sit around and watch my own movies. And when I do, you think of things you wish you had cut or changed, but you don't really. I think most directors, when they see their films, it's great to see it with an audience like this, certainly. And I also like to see it sometimes in foreign countries, just to see if it works in a really foreign place. And it weirdly does. Bad Taste is international. It goes beyond political, all social, religious. There's always crazy people everywhere. Yeah.
What's your thoughts on film versus digital? Because I mean, when you watch like the Christmas scene with the tree falls, it almost feels like someone's home movie that you're watching.
Well, yeah, it does, and that was the best we could do too. You know, people say like, "Oh, wow, that looks so primitive." That looked really good compared to Pink Flamingos. I mean, that was a lot of money we had. So digital, you know, my next film, if I make it, I'm sure it'll be in digital. You just keep up with what, I tell you, those 16mm Kodak film really lasted, really. It held up when we did all the, those prints were sitting in my attic, the originals for years in hot Baltimore, and when we made them, they had not faded, they had not, so those kind of Ektachrome prints were really strong.
Right in the middle.
Hi, I noticed that you were credited as a manager on the movie, and I just wondered if
This movie, I did edit this movie, really. Did I have anybody work on it? Maybe Charlie Ruggiero. Yes, I had somebody named Charlie Ruggiero that edited with me, but we sat there every day and did it together, yeah.
I just wondered if you enjoyed the post-production process or...
Did I enjoy, if you could call it post-production, we didn't know those words then, but I had to do it. Yeah, I edited Pink Flamingos by myself in the attic. Yes, I like the editing of it. You know, the one thing I always learn much later is that if you think you should cut it, you should. Yeah.
Right there.
I just want to thank you so much for like 25 years. Since 18 years old, I'm 45 now. For this whole period of time of wonderful, wonderful.
Oh, that's very sweet. Thank you very, very much. Thank you. Thank you.
What do you think when you look back on Mondo Trasho?
On Mondo Trasho, I wish I'd paid for the music rights because we could play it. And I didn't, and it'll probably never come out because it was a movie that cost $2,000, and to buy the music rights for that would probably cost $1 million today. So I'm sorry I didn't do it. That's one thing I learned way too late is you have to buy the music rights. So if you all are making movies, remember that because you'll make it and you use, you know, put the Beatles in it or something, and then you'll go to a film festival and the distributor will want to buy it, and then they find out you didn't buy the music rights, and they'll drop your deal. So and it gets more and more expensive, really. If I had bought them then, it would have been cheaper. So Mondo Trasho, you know, it's a 90-minute film that probably should have been 20 minutes, but it has its moments, yes. It's all filmed in the alleys and gutters of Baltimore, so I have fondness for it. I haven't seen that one in a really long time.
Right over there.
I'm trying. That one has music issues too, but we're very much trying to buy them, and we might have to replace a few, but it'll be really close, and we're very hoping that that is going to come out again, yes. All right.
Right there.
Hi, I was wondering what your relationship was with Deborah Harry prior to making Hairspray and how you sort of got her roped into that.
Well, I didn't have to. I just got an email from her today. I didn't rope her into it. She wanted to. Well, we couldn't. They were at the height of the Blondie success then, and they had a record deal, so we couldn't really. She sings all through Polyester when she and excuse me, Tab Hunter were together singing. I loved Old Wave meets New Wave. You know, it was exciting, and you can hear her all through it. But we couldn't say Debbie Harry at the time because of the record deal. That was in Polyester. Then I knew her from that, and then she wanted to be in it. You know, she was great, and I love Debbie. She's great.
Over there.
Could you tell us what the remaining Dreamlanders are up to and will they be in future films?
Mink Stoll lived here for many, many years, moved back to Baltimore. She's doing great. She's playing, excuse me, in a Tennessee Williams play at La Mama in New York right now. Mary Vivian Pierce is really a bohemian. She lives in Nicaragua. Let's see, who else? Channing Wilroy lives in Provincetown, and I see him all the time every summer. Let me think, who else? I mean, unfortunately, Cookie's no longer here. A lot aren't, but I would say Mink and Mary Vivian Pierce are the two ones that have the most parts that I still see all the time. And Vincent Perenio and Pat, they all did The Wire. They do all these TV shows. Pat won the Emmy for Homicide. So they've all gone on to do quite well. No, it's not that.
I was wondering what your feelings were about Jack Smith and how did you first react to Flaming Creatures?
Well, I saw Flaming Creatures way before. I maybe met Jack Smith, I'm not so sure, but when Pink Flamingos came out, he wrote a review of it to the Village Voice, which was I was so honored, even though if you read it today, you have no idea what he's talking about. But it was kind of a really big deal that he reviewed it, and I went to see those plays and everything, but I didn't know him. I was just like a 16-year-old from Baltimore. So they were very influential on me at the time, especially Flaming Creatures, because then the audience would get arrested. They'd take the whole audience away in paddy wagons. Can you imagine how exciting that would be if right tonight the police came in and busted all of us? We all had to go to jail on buses and everything, for watching a movie, which routinely happened just for the showing of one limp penis. That's true.
Right in the back. Yeah.
It's been way too long. When do we see a new movie?
I don't know. I'm trying to make one. I thought Fruitcake was the movie I've been trying to make for quite a while. It's a children's Christmas adventure. Independent films, they want it to cost $500,000. They want me when I was 15, right? So I wrote a book, and I've done a lot of other projects. So I'm still trying to make it. Still having meetings. We'll see. I hope it happens this year. Okay.
How were you first introduced to filmmaking?
To filmmaking, well, I went to the movies as a kid like everybody, but I just was lucky that sort of underground movies came out when I was a teenager, and I read Film Culture magazine, and I would read Jonas Mekas, the great film critic, and run away and see Kenneth Anger and Warhol movies, and the great Kuchar brothers. George Kuchar just died, a great, great film director. And they were huge influences on me. And then my grandmother gave me this 8mm camera. I had no idea. Nobody taught me how to do it. I didn't even know there was editing. And Hagen at Black River Jacket, there is no editing. It was Dogma movie. I didn't know it. So I just got into it and learned by doing it. I'm still learning, really.
Right there.
You're like a model of someone who's been really himself his entire life. Any advice for being weird and fearless?
Well, the only advice I can give is that a no is free. Don't be afraid to ask. You're going to be rejected in life if you're ever in the arts in any way. But you got to keep asking. You got to keep going. But yet somebody's got to like it. You got to find somebody that likes it. And you also, even if you have the best thing in the world, you have to have some kind of business. What do I do with it? So to read the trade papers, to know what's going on. If you're an artist, go to every art show and pick the gallery you wish you would be in that shows the art you like the best. If you're a film director, read which distributor might go for you. You have to have some idea, because I meet all these kids, they think, no one's going to come knock on your door and say, would you like to be a film director? That's not going to happen, really. They don't even have a bad reality show of that yet. So you have to just be obsessed, and you can't fake it. You have to really care about doing it so much that you never consider you're not going to do it. You might not end up doing it the way you thought, but you'll find a way to do it, and if you give up, then maybe you shouldn't have done it in the first place, really.
What did you see yourself becoming? Like when you're shooting a woman having sex with a lobster, and like you saw your future of what people were going to think of you. What were you?
Well, I don't know if I was looking that far ahead of my future, but at that age. But I was an ambitious kid. I was a puppeteer when I was 12. I had a business. I did puppet shows for kids' birthday parties. So. I don't know what I was thinking. My father always used to say that. What are you thinking about? Divine's father used to say, all parents say that to their children. What are you thinking about? I was trying to make an underground movie at the time, really. And lobsters, that was Salvador Dali had lobsters, Jack Smith had lobsters, and I lived in Provincetown in the summer where there was a great postcard of the beach with a red lobster in the sky over it. That's where the idea came from. What would happen? We were on LSD, and I'd look at the postcard and think, is lobsters going to attack us at the beach? That kind of thing. So it all comes from, when you're young, you think weird stuff. Yeah.
Couple more. We got right back in the middle.